I was watering my mom's petunias when a glittery tornado of sparkles sucked me into the backyard shed, which was not a shed anymore but a glowing fairy nightclub complete with disco balls and tiny winged DJs. Before I could scream, a gang of pint-sized fairies in leather jackets and sunglasses tied me up with vines and declared, "Elliot, you're our new party planner." I'm Elliot, a 15-year-old who thought fairies were just sparkly myths. Now, I was kidnapped by a gang of mischievous fairies who wanted me to throw the wildest bash in fairy history or face eternal tickling. My summer was about to get weird. Life in Maple Grove was duller than a butter knife. I'm a high school sophomore who spends summers dodging chores and binge-watching sci-fi. My only excitement was sneaking cookies from Mom's jar. That morning, she'd sent me to water her precious flowers. I was grumbling, hose in hand, when I noticed the shed glowing like a neon sign. Curious, I peeked inside, expecting spiders. Instead, a glittery vortex yanked me through. 1 minute, I was a bored teen. The next, I was fairy-napped, surrounded by tiny creatures with attitude and questionable fashion sense. The fairies introduced themselves in the sparkly nightclub. Their leader, Zaz, had a mohawk and a toothpick-sized sword. "We're the Glitter Gutter Gang," she sneered, "and you're gonna make our solstice rave legendary." Her crew, Bloop, a fairy obsessed with glow sticks, Twing, who kept stealing my shoelaces, and Glorp, who smelled like burnt marshmallows, giggled menacingly. "Why me?" I asked, still tied up. Zaz smirked. "Your mom's garden's got fairy vibes. You're connected." Apparently, Mom's petunias were a fairy hotspot. They shoved a tiny clipboard at me. "Plan the party, or we turn you into a toad." Zaz snapped her fingers, and the nightclub vanished. We appeared in a forest where trees glowed and mushrooms danced. The fairy realm was like a candy store, exploded, sparkly rivers, cotton candy clouds, and fireflies that sang pop hits. "This is our turf," Bloop said, waving a glow stick. My job was to plan a solstice rave for 10,000 fairies. I'm terrible at planning my own birthday, let alone a fairy blowout. Twing untied me but stole my other shoelace. "Start with decorations," Zaz ordered. I grabbed a glowing vine, hoping it wasn't alive, and prayed I wouldn't become amphibian. Planning a fairy rave was a nightmare. Bloop demanded a glow stick forest, but the sticks kept catching fire. Glorp wanted a snack bar of dewdrop donuts, which exploded when I touched them. Twing kept tying my shoelaces together, making me trip into a pile of glitter. "You're hopeless, human," Zaz yelled, poking me with her sword. I suggested fairy lights, and they laughed. Apparently, that's offensive in the fairy realm. Then a rival gang, the Pixie Punks, crashed our planning session, throwing stink bombs. "They want to sabotage the rave." Bloop shrieked. Great, now I was in a fairy gang war. The Pixie Punks, led by a fairy named Spike with a spiked choker, demanded I hand over the rave plans. "Or we'll curse you to sneeze glitter forever," he threatened. Panicking, I remembered a sci-fi trick from my favorite show. I grabbed a glowing mushroom and pretended it was a fairy bomb. "Back off, or I blow us all to sparkles," I bluffed. The punks scattered, and Zaz high-fived me. "Not bad, human." I felt briefly cool until Twing tied my hoodie strings into knots. The rave was tomorrow, and I still had no clue how to pull it off. Zaz gathered the gang to strategize. "The Pixie Punks will crash the rave," she said. "We need epic defenses." I suggested a moat of sparkling syrup, inspired by a sci-fi fortress. Glorp loved it, but accidentally set the syrup on fire. Bloop rigged glow stick traps, while Twing wove vines into a bouncer barrier. I designed a dance floor of floating lily pads, which miraculously didn't collapse. "You're not useless, Elliot," Zaz admitted, tossing me a fairy-sized energy drink. It tasted like blue raspberry and courage. The rave was shaping up, but the punks were plotting something big. The solstice rave was insane. 10,000 fairies, a glowing forest, and a DJ mushroom spinning beats. My lily pad dance floor wobbled but held. Fairies danced, ate exploding donuts, and threw glitter bombs. I was almost proud until the Pixie Punks arrived, riding fireflies, armed with stink bomb slingshots. "Hand over the rave, glitter gutters," Spike shouted. Zaz drew her sword, but I had an idea. I grabbed a megaphone flower and yelled, Free glitter shots for everyone. The crowd went wild, mobbing the punks with hugs. Chaos was my new superpower. Just as I thought we'd won, Twing betrayed us, stealing the rave's enchanted disco ball and handing it to Spike. I'm joining the punks, Twing cackled, tying my shoelaces to a tree. The disco ball controlled the rave's magic. Without it, the fairy realm would fade. Zaz tackled Twing, but Spike escaped through a portal. We need that ball, Bloop cried. I wasn't a hero, but I was mad about my shoelaces. I untied myself, grabbed a glow stick, and dove after Spike. Fairy betrayal? I was ready to fight Sparkles with Sparkles. The portal dumped me in a candy cane jungle, where everything was sticky and smelled like peppermint. Spike was ahead, waving the disco ball. I chased him, dodging gummy bear traps. My sci-fi binge-watching paid off. I slid under a licorice vine like an action hero. Give it up, Spike, I shouted. He threw a stink bomb, but I deflected it with a candy cane shield. Bloop and Glorp caught up, and we cornered Spike on a marshmallow cliff. You're no fairy, he sneered. I'm Elliot, party planner, I retorted, lunging for the ball. This rave wasn't over yet. Spike swung the disco ball, sending sparkles that nearly blinded me. Bloop threw glow sticks, and Glorp lobbed exploding donuts. I used my candy cane shield to block Spike's attacks, feeling like a sci-fi warrior. Zaz appeared, sword flashing, and disarmed Spike. I grabbed the disco ball, which pulsed with magic. You're all right, human, Zaz said, tying Spike up with vines. The portal hummed, ready to take us back. I was sticky, glitter-covered, and oddly proud. But Twing was still out there, and I wasn't done with this fairy nonsense. We portaled back to the rave, disco ball in hand. The fairies cheered as I rehung it, restoring the realm's glow. Zaz declared me an honorary glitter gutter. The party raged on, with fairies breakdancing on lily pads. But Twing sneaked back, stealing my sneakers. You're not forgiven, I yelled, chasing her. She giggled, vanishing into the crowd. Bloop handed me a fairy-sized medal made of glitter. You saved the rave, Elliot. I grinned, realizing I'd gone from bored teen to fairy hero. But I really wanted my sneakers back. After the rave, Zaz pulled me aside. You've got fairy spark, Elliot. Want to join the gang? I laughed, imagining Mom's face if I became a part-time fairy. Maybe, I said. They gave me a tiny portal key, a glowing acorn. For emergencies, Glorp whispered, burping marshmallow smoke. The shed vortex reopened, and I stepped through, landing in Mom's garden. The petunias looked smug, like they knew everything. I hid the acorn in my pocket, wondering if I'd see the glitter gutters again. For now, I had chores to dodge.